you to this week's episode of Se Vuelve Podcast. My name is Monica, and I want to thank you for being here. So for today's episode, I actually have a guest coming on. I talk about this person on the episode of my college journey. So please help me welcome Cesar. Hi, Cesar. Welcome to Se Vuelve Podcast. How are you doing?
Hey, Monica. Thanks for having me.
It's been a really long time since I've seen Cesar. I'm trying to think like how many years it's been. It's been quite a few. But as I mentioned in one of my episodes, I had Cesar in a couple of my classes at Columbia. I thought he was a great person to have on this episode just to kind of get his story, his perspectives, and hear about like what he's kind of doing. So Cesar, let me ask you this. What was kind of like your college journey? What made you go to Columbia College, Chicago?
I knew I had to go to I wanted to go to an art school. That was my main thing. The reason why is, I'm not going to lie, I didn't know much about college. During high school, I never wanted to go to college. After high school, I wanted to go to college even less. And then once I decided what I wanted to do, I thought, okay, I'm not going to get there without some form of education, and to understand exactly how to visualize a road. And I thought I had to go to college to kind of get that visualization, that have that in my mind. Okay, exactly what do I want to do? How do I do it? Even though I had an idea, I thought, how do I do this? And I thought, like almost everyone, you go to college and they teach you. But I always knew that I always knew when it comes to art or anything artistic, it's subjective. So what they tell me is good, I know, doesn't mean it's what I want to do or it's how I should do it, but I knew I had to get some sort of idea. And I thought I had, living in Chicago, I thought, what art schools do we have here?
Yeah.
So I started doing simple research, not much. Art Institute was an obvious one.
Yeah.
Columbia College was like the second best one, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I think DePaul too. I looked at DePaul.
Yeah.
And I remember I went for an interview at the Art Institute, and because I thought, okay, I need to speak to them and figure out exactly what they have to say or how does this go.
Yeah.
I went to Farragut High School, so they didn't prepare you that well for college, or at least I didn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't interested in college.
Can I ask you, like, why you were interested in college?
Well, because of that, why I wasn't?
Yeah, why weren't you interested in college?
I hated school.
Yeah.
That's why. I hated high school so much that I thought I'm never going to go to another educational institute ever again. I'm in my head coming into high school, I had the typical mindset. I'm gonna go to high school, then I'm gonna go to college. But once I was in high school, I saw how little the teachers cared about teaching and just the environment. Unfortunately, like I didn't go to a high school that had a positive, fun environment. Fun for some though, not for me.
Yeah.
Point is, I didn't want to go to college. I didn't want to sit in rooms and listen to some guy teach.
Yeah.
Shit that I didn't want to listen to, and I thought I'm done with this. So in my, adolescent, immature brain, I thought, okay, this is how college is too.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to another 4 to 8 years of this.
Yeah.
That's
No,
the reason why.
it totally makes sense. I mean, I feel like around that time, and it's funny because obviously you haven't listened to like my episode that I recorded about my college journey, but I kind of talk about kind of like the same things. I mentioned that around that time, and I don't know if it's still the same thing, but college was always like kind of pushed on you. It was like the next step. It's the next step to do, right? But I was also kind of, and I mean, I just kind of went to because I thought I knew it was the next step, but it's just interesting to like kind of hear your story and know almost you knew you had a passion for something and knew that in order to get that you had to do to go to school or to do this, right?
Yeah, you need formal education. You need like a step-by-step process of how to get there. But I didn't, since I didn't know what I wanted to be, I didn't know what I wanted to do during high school. I just felt it was kind of stupid to go to college not knowing exactly what I wanted to do. But, but I'm wrong. I was wrong because once you're in college, once you get in there, you kind of like figure it out, I guess.
Yeah.
But I didn't have anybody to tell me that. I didn't have anybody to guide me through the decisions in life of what you should or can do. So I didn't realize what I wanted to do until like mid 20s.
Yeah. I know I keep saying like so much because listening to your story is it's almost like listening to my story and listening to that podcast of what I recorded. I talk about how you know what, and when those that know, I work as a substitute teacher. That's part of the thing that I tell the kids. I legitimately tell the kids, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, school sucks sometimes. You're forced to learn things that maybe you're not strong at or you don't like. I'm not a math person. I'm an alright science person, and I try to tell them, and I try to give these kids like little life lessons and tell them that, hey, like, once you go to college, you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna be able to pick things that you like to do, so yeah, it's.
But it's not that easy though, because you say you're going to pick things that you like to do, but in all honesty, growing up, something artistic was never. It just didn't exist. It's something. Make a career out of something that you like.
Yeah.
That's not. My parents. I'm assuming your parents didn't go to college either.
Yeah,
My parents didn't pass anything past fourth grade, fourth grade. So they didn't know how high school was. They didn't know how college was. They just do. This is America. You go to college. You go to high school. That's what TV says, and you figure it out. You make money. But they didn't know the challenges that you go through, the opportunities that are available. That's my number one thing.
Yeah.
The opportunities. They know that there are opportunities, but they don't know what type of opportunities are.
Exactly what you said. I keep saying this. It's like listening to myself. Is I talked about not being encouraged to pursue jobs in the arts, and I think from almost like their perspective, because obviously they've had to kind of like fight throughout their whole lives, or like transition to the US and then hustled through work or whatever, that they essentially they want you to find a job that is stable. Is that, if that's the right word, that is stable and that obviously makes you good money, and I don't know, like, obviously they weren't taught these things, or they were never able to do these jobs, or they saw them as like fun little, what do you call it, like hobbies or whatever you want to call it, right? Like I said, it's like they want you to go for something that's gonna keep you financially stable and be able to pay your bills at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you said something. I forgot exactly the word that you used, but something stable, uh,
Financially.
financially stable, and that's the biggest thing because you know they 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 uh, they risk huge risk, coming to the side and finding a job, and their mindset is over their opportunity, over their money, over their
Right.
stable, or their you can hit XYZ and get 1, 2, 300 bucks.
Yeah.
They just see it as like a step by step. You can work at a job for 8 hours, get money. That's it. Boom, easy, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then in their mind, they're like, "This is how you do it. Don't fuck
Mm-hmm.
it up.
Right.
Don't fuck it up." And I got X amount of money, and I didn't have education. You can get education, get even more money, but because in their because growing up for them, they didn't have the opportunity
Yeah.
to choose what they wanted to do. They did what they had to do. That's the thing. They did what they had to do, and they came in here, and fortunately and unfortunately, like, we do have so many options. And when you grow up here, you're like, holy crap, there are a lot of options. Um, but they are overwhelming, and mm, because they didn't see all these options, they didn't have them all available to them.
Yeah.
They just looked and said, "Hey, you find a job, you go work, you don't fuck up, you do lower your head, do your job, get paid, and that's it. You buy a house, and that's it. You get a family." Here, it's just, unfortunately, America, you can do whatever you want, and
Yeah.
and because you have so many options, I I did get overwhelmed, and I thought, well, I don't want to do. As I got older, I realized I didn't want to just have a 9 to 5 job. I saw what they went through, and I thought, that's tough. Not that I'm avoiding, tough situations, um, but I thought, okay, they had it very tough because they didn't have a choice and they didn't know. I know I have a choice, and now I'm here. So and for me, I thought taking advantage of the opportunity to be able to do something that you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
to me, I thought that's like the epitome of of taking advantage of the situation that they gave me, the opportunity that they gave me. Um, but it's not easy because, yeah, I can have a normal 9 to 5 job, but damn, it's boring. That's that won't bring me any happiness. And
Right.
for them, stability is happiness. Stability, finances. We weren't rich, but we had way more than they could ever dream of.
Right.
And that's why, I never grew up poor because I had food, I had clothes, I had a roof over my head. So for
Right.
me, as long as you have those three things, you're not poor. You're not poor. It's not the best food. It's not
Yeah.
the best situation. It's not the best clothing, but you have clothing. You're not going to sleep in the streets. So, and you have food. Beans and tortillas and rice. That's food. That's
Right.
way more than they had. So I never grew up poor. Never felt like I lacked anything. I had more than I wanted. And like I said, I felt I needed to take advantage of that and do something. And this came, after many years of maturing. After
Yeah.
high school. After high school, I started
Right.
thinking about all this because during high school, you're thinking about all the BS that's going on
Right.
in with your friends in your neighborhood,
That
in
era
school.
or that time, you're very, I think this is the right word, it's like you're self-absorbed, or you're in your own
Totally,
bubble, right? You
definitely.
can't see anything past, like, past, like, you or your whatever you have in your immediate circle. Yeah,
Sure.
I totally understand. To kind of go back, you said, was this immediately that after high school that you started to apply for Columbia, or did you do something else before, like applying for Columbia and all these like art universities?
No. After high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just in my head. In my head, I had get a job and make money because
Hmm.
I'm not going to college like my other brothers and sister. They all went to college right after high school.
Yeah.
They kind of had a better head on their shoulders, and I was kind of like the black sheep where I didn't, I was doing my own thing, and
Yeah.
and but I told myself, okay, I'm not going to college. I hate school. What am I gonna do? But at the very least, I'm gonna make some money. I'm gonna make, I'm not gonna be a loser. That's what I thought. I'm not gonna be a loser, and I calmed myself down from being in high school. I thought, okay, I have to mature, and um, you know, dropping all the friends that I had in high school. I was able to focus more on just, keeping my head down, making money, saving up to buy a car, eventually saving up to buy a house, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But along the way, I was so bored. I was
Yeah.
so bored with life and so bored with everything. And it's funny because once I got out of high school, that's when my education started. I felt because
Mm.
I was able to get a job where I had access to a computer. And I didn't have a computer in my house. We didn't have access to the computers at school the way that other schools had or they do now. You had to,
Technology.
yeah,
It's so much more advanced technology. Yeah.
oh, definitely. And in other schools, they had computers everywhere, and we had a point is, I was able to gain access to a computer around like 20 years old,
Yeah.
and then I was able to go on the internet, and that opened up, the world to me,
Mm-hmm.
being on the internet and and reading history and reading all the little things that I had interests in the back of my mind, but they were just pushed to the side because no, what's important is what is in front of me right now. There's no point in wondering, I don't know, about the ancient Greeks or the Mesopotamians
Yeah.
or anything like that. You know, but like I said, once I gained access to a computer, I was able to go on Wikipedia and read all these little stories and things, and watching TV too. I had time to just chill and not think about the BS that was going on in high school, and just my
Mm-hmm.
point is, the way I see it is, how they say that human civilization started thriving once they settled down and were able to cultivate agriculture and feed themselves instead of always having to go out and hunt
Mm-hmm.
and spending their whole time hunting, and they were able to like now chill, farm, have a couple of houses, and then human civilization started thriving, and that's how I felt it was.
Yeah.
I got away from the BS from high school. I was able to
Mm-hmm.
calm down, see what's around me, and then see what's around the world.
Yeah. Well, it's like I don't want to say it like I'm not gonna say it like this, but going to any school like below college, right? So high school, junior high school, elementary, right? It's like you're forced in this like schedule. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you're forced to be up by a certain time. You get up by a certain time. It's like a job. I know you keep saying, "Oh, I didn't want a 9 to 5." I mean, that's kind of like the same thing, like that schedule of being somewhere, having to be somewhere, right? And I know that as creatives, right? And as creatives, 9 to 5s constrict us, you know? So we need that freedom to create, to like, even with me doing this, it's so time consuming, and I and not just like with the time, it's like energy. You need your time and your energy to be able to put it into your craft. And obviously, like with you, like getting out of college and almost having, yeah, you were working and stuff, right? But still, you were able to kind of explore these different pathways or be open to these other things because your time was freed, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, time was freed, but also my mindset. Like I said, I dropped. Uh, I didn't have any. I didn't have any positive influences
Mm-hmm.
in high school. All my buddies were just. Um, yeah, they all dropped out. They all dropped out. They didn't really care about school. They
Mm-hmm.
all dropped out, or they were gangbangers, so they weren't interested in school at all. And it's and I wasn't interested in school either, but
Yeah.
it's because I dropped them all. I wasn't getting involved in the situations I was, and I had a more boring life, but a more stable life. And
Yeah.
you say that you mentioned how having a 9 to 5 job kind of constricts us, and we need that freedom. Yes, we do need a certain amount of freedom, but we do need a lot of what was it?
Discipline.
We need discipline, but
Yeah.
we don't have structure. Structure. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
Structure.
We
Mm-hmm.
need structure because sometimes people who, and I don't want to say I'm a creative or I'm an artist or anything like that because that sounds extremely pretentious, but
Stop.
it is. It is.
But you
Well, for
are.
me, well, for me, I thought, I have a bunch of interests everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and that it doesn't. It's not. It's not. It's not good for you to have your mind taken in being pulled by 5 different
Mm-hmm.
subjects. You need it. You need structure. You need something to like box you in and like in a certain way to show you, okay, you do X, Y, and Z, and then you can hit this level, and then
Yeah.
you do X, Y, and Z, and then you can hit that level. Even if it's not, like a 9 to 5 job, you still need art. You still need art. You still need structure to create art because,
Oh,
like,
100%.
let's say you're painting something. You just can't pick up a brush and paint. You have to like treat the canvas. What type of canvas are you gonna have? So you have to think about these things, and that's sort of like how I felt with like a certain journey. You need a certain amount of structure and planning. And
Yeah.
yes, 9 to 5 jobs, like they school boxes you in so much, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it keeps you from doing stupid shit too.
Yeah.
If you don't have school and you're just running around, trying to teach yourself, one, it's gonna be hard to concentrate on what you're learning because you don't have an instructor to tell you what to do. And then your mind is gonna wander off.
I just feel that there needs to be a restructure in the school system. That's like my opinion. And the reason why I say that is because now there's different opportunities, and I guess I say this because I'm an artistic person, and that was something that I didn't get to really do when I was in, I don't, like, junior high school or whatever, right? So I would have loved, well, now, because I'm, like I said, I'm in the school system. Now they
Problem.
stop. I'm not. I'm a substitute teacher. like, like literally, um, like they have they have like games where they're like they're doing code. They have all these different things where they're able to like express themselves or do like projects like differently than when we were in school. Obviously, I'm still laughing.
Wait, what grade do you teach?
So I am a substitute teacher. I can work from anywhere from kindergarten to 8th grade. I mostly try to work with sixth through eighth grade, just because usually that what do I call it, material, like subject material, I'm able to pick things that are a little bit more of my interest. So like art and English, and I usually do bilingual classes because obviously I speak in Spanish. Um, Sometimes I go to the elementary schools, but that's like on another level. Like they're more little. It's a lot more energy. Mm-hmm.
Now, my so my girlfriend is a teacher,
Yeah.
and she teaches. It's ranged from like second graders to sixth graders.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Well, she's now a coach, but it's funny because she knows how much I hate school. I
Yeah.
hate school so much, and I blame teachers. And I tell her,
I get it.
yeah,
I really get it.
If you're not a person who likes to teach people, if you're not
Mm-hmm.
a people person, boy, I was gonna swear. I don't know if I can swear.
Let me tell you, you've been swearing since the beginning.
Oh, I have?
Yeah. You dropped the F word within I don't even know. It's okay because I will label it as we have swear words in this episode, so don't worry.
Yeah. What's that label that they would put on CDs?
Explicit.
Explicit content. But yeah. If you're a person who doesn't like children, who doesn't like to teach, not a people person, who isn't interested in what doesn't love what you're doing.
Right.
What you're doing is educating people and influencing people. You are influencing people and educating them. You're not just educating them, you're influencing them. And then you're also giving them a window into what an adult looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not a person who understands all that, you shouldn't be a teacher. And for me, growing up, I've only had like 2 to 3 teachers that were exceptional. The rest were, normal teachers who are boring. One, who aren't, they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care to help students and raise them, because that's what you're doing. You're also raising these kids.
Yeah. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of commitment. I'm also doing a episode about substitute teaching, and I talk about that. It's what they do. It's hard. It's a lot. It's hard work, and it's exactly what you said. It's a lot of little pieces that sometimes people don't consider about teachers. You're molding minds.
Yeah, you're right. And then I don't think that they know the responsibility that they have.
Yeah.
And if, like I said, if you don't understand that, if you don't want to be part of that, then you shouldn't be a teacher. And I believe, like, for the most part, they're I want to say, I want to give a certain percentage, but most teachers don't understand that.
Yeah. Well, it's different. Like, you haven't been in the school systems in a while,
I haven't, but I went through it.
Yeah, you went through it. I know, but it's different now. But when was the last time you were in, like, you know what I mean? When you were in junior high school? Come on, like, you know what I mean?
You know what? You're right, because in speaking to my girlfriend, I told her all this, and it's funny. She worked in the Elgin. She's a bilingual teacher, so she worked in the Elgin district, and she learned a lot there.
Yeah.
And then she came to Cicero and taught there. And then and I would tell her, like, how much I hated school and how much I hate teachers.
Yeah.
And she's like, why do you feel that way? No, it's I don't know about you, maybe you got some crappy teachers, blah blah blah. And I said, I'm like, oh, maybe I did. Maybe I did, because the schools I went to aren't regarded as some of the best. But whatever.
Yeah.
And then she worked for 1 year at Whitney, Whitney, the school uh, by in 26th Street, right by Pulaski and 27. I think it's like Kamenetsky and 27 or something. But point is, she worked there 1 year, and she said, "Man, I didn't know how outdated these classes were. They are so far behind the other
Yeah.
districts. You know, the things that you have to deal with here, you don't have to deal with, you know, in other schools that I've been to.
Yeah.
So I kind of see now. I kind of see now why you feel the way that you do about school. And she told me something that I remember. I stuck to my head. She said, most of the people that she knows that went to Chicago public school
Mhm.
don't have like a career.
Mm. Wow.
But most of the people that she went to school in Cicero Berwyn, they do have a career. They do have uh they have a stable career. And that kind of made me think like uh well, not made me think that it makes sense because I don't know the other side, but it did
Mhm.
make me think, and it she told me, she said, now I see why you hate school so much.
Yeah.
Um, and
I
then
th-
and she worked there for 1 year, and she's got another still within teaching the education system. She bounced and got another job,
yeah.
but she said that she wanted to stay because she felt that the quality of the education that these kids were getting
Mhm.
um, wasn't on par with what she grew up with and what she was teaching, and
Yeah.
she wanted to help out these kids.
And that's
Because
just go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
no, that's pretty much it.
It's just unfortunate because obviously these kids, right? They're our future. They're the future of this country, and I think that that should be one of this country's like priority is to create an environment for these kids to get a better education because one day they're going to be like leading this country, and it shouldn't be until college or even if you start maybe in high school that you start to like you know to get a better education or whatever. Like it should start from the beginning, from like pre-K, from daycare, whatever you want to call it, right? It's we need to start like investing in the kids in these schools because you know I for like my district we're getting two of the buildings are like old, so they're getting kind of knocked out and they're getting rebuilt. A lot of my city like passed this bill in which they're doing those two schools. They're doing like more maintenance. Doing maintenance in like certain buildings and stuff like that. So it's good for them that they're getting like these little updates. But I kind of want to go back because I know we kind of went on a side tangent, but I loved it. Like I love having this conversation. But I want to talk to you about you were on the road to applying for college. So you said you interviewed at DePaul, correct?
No,
Or
I went to Art Institute just to see
guys,
what they had to say.
yeah.
And I'm a
So
no,
this wasn't an interview. This was just almost what do you call it? You know how the
a
schools
visit.
do like a visit. Like yeah.
hmm Yeah, I just schedule a visit, blah blah,
Okay.
speak to an advisor. I kind of so I went, and there was some lady, and I told her what I wanted to do, and what I was doing to prep myself for getting into college because it's not I wasn't prepping for college at all, you know. But once I decided to do what I wanted to do and go back to school, I started practicing. I started reading up, doing my research, and she's like, yeah, yeah, come in and we've already started, so why not just jump in and this is what we provide, this is what we have to offer, and this is what people who have gone to our schools have done, and blah blah blah. And I thought, okay, thank you. I'm gonna go think about this and blah blah blah. And she said, well, why don't you sign up right now? And I thought, and I'm a person, I don't have to sleep on things, to
Yeah.
think about things. And I said, oh, I don't like to make decisions right away. And it was something that bothered me. But
Mm.
she said, well, if you don't sign up right now, it's like if you kind of wasted your time. She
Wow.
said that to me, and then I told her, I said something like, I don't feel this is a waste of time. I got my information, and
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I'll sleep on it. I'll think about it, and maybe I'll come here. I'm not saying I won't. And she's like, oh, okay, thank you. It's as if I wasted her time. I thought, fuck you, like dude, like, and but that kind of gave me an idea of what
That.
college was, because you know what it told me,
Mm.
they don't care, they don't care if you qualify,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they just care that you sign the paperwork and
Mm-hmm.
put up the money
Yeah.
and sign your name on there saying that I'm gonna pay X
Well,
amount.
well, my thinking was like maybe she was almost like a recruiter, and you get
Yeah,
a certain amount of money or whatever for recruiting a certain amount of students or whatever. So that was like maybe that.
maybe
That's
she
just
gets commission. I don't know. I doubt
exactly,
it though. I
yeah.
doubt it.
So then what? So you left that, or you left there thinking that. So then was that kind of like your next step into Colombia or looking into Colombia?
Yeah, because I looked at how expensive it was at our institute, and I thought, you
Mm-hmm.
know, nah, I can't. I don't want to spend all this money,
Mm-hmm.
on 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 school, whatever. So because I thought in my mind, I felt, okay, if I'm going to do something artistic,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like I said, it's subjective. It's, you can tell me how to do something, and I can think it sucks, and I'm gonna do it my own way,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't tell me that it's technically not as good as yours, because to me, when I watch movies or when I look at painting or when I read a book, I'm not thinking how technically well done it was first. I think, do I enjoy it? Do I like it? Is it attractive? Then, if I look into it and I know how technically difficult it was to create this piece or write this book or anything, that adds more, um, I'm more impressed. If I have that knowledge, okay, if I know it's really hard to do this, I know it takes some obscure knowledge to write this down, and unless I know that, I'm just looking at something and I'm liking it. Period. You know, why do I like it? Why do I like it? I don't know. I have to break that down. But when you break, it's like breaking a joke down. If somebody says something funny, it's just funny. Once you start breaking that joke down, it gets boring. Like, why are you breaking down a joke? It's stupid. It should be just funny. But I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. You break down the joke because that's sometimes how a comedian makes these jokes. It's not just said and it's just funny. But sometimes you're with your buddy and they say something funny without even thinking right away, and it's hilarious. So to me, that's what I think about when I think about art. Something that it should just hit, and however way you get it to hit,
Yeah.
that's it doesn't, it kind of doesn't matter, but it does, because um, I was just thinking about this earlier today. I can watch a movie, like a Polanski movie, and this movie's great. It has all these little messages, here and there. But then I could also watch a movie like Hobo with a Shotgun and think, this is hilarious and stupid. But I love this movie way more than that stupid Polanski film. Or, you could be all technical. What's that guy's name? The one that made those movies, those Batman movies, and he made Oppenheimer. What's his name?
The Batman movies? Are you talking about why can't I think of his name? Christopher Nolan?
Christopher Nolan, yeah. I mean, super cerebral.
Yeah.
And to me, I think is to me it's like DTM, dude. Doing too much, overthinking. Get the fuck out of here. That whole backwards movie. It looks so
what
stupid.
backwards movie?
That movie, it was called Irreversible, I think. Or
I hope you're not talking about Inception, because Inception is like my favorite movie.
No. Inception was the movie where they went into the people's brains.
Yeah. Dreams. It was a dream within a dream. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the movie he made after that, he made a movie where, like, I don't know what. I'm high when I watch these movies.
I
forgot what it was about, but it was just so stupid. It's backwards fighting, dumb as hell, dude. And I'm like, they put so much money to make this movie, and there's this other movie that's super dumb, super silly, and it like Grandma's Boy. I'll see Grandma's Boy forever, and I can't watch that stupid movie just once. And then Grandma's Boy is just like silly ass comedy, probably made a $5 million budget.
I get it.
And in that other movies like 200 mil, 300 mil, like, get out of here,
Yeah.
So that's my thing. That was my idea coming in. You can tell me how to like be very artistic and all this and that, but entertainment is entertainment at the end of the day.
All right, and that's where we're going to leave off this week's conversation. If you can't tell, my clothes are different. I wasn't originally planning to split my conversation with Cesar up into 2 parts, but our conversation went on for 2 hours, and I felt that if I try to shorten it down to an hour, I would lose the integrity of our conversation. So please come back next week for the conclusion of my conversation with Cesar. As always, I just wanted to say thank you to anyone who tunes in to listen. I would appreciate if you could leave me a review, and would be grateful if you could let me know what information resonated with you. Please follow and share on social media. The pages are @Se Vuelve Podcast, or my personal is @Se Vuelve Monica. Once again, thank you so much for listening. Nos vemos pronto. Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.